Hi everyone, in this video we're going to cover core tools and concepts in Photoshop. When I create a new Photoshop project, I always create a new file first. I'm going to create a landscape that's 17 wide by 11 tall, kind of more of a panoramic image, and 300 dpi. When that's ready, I'm going to start to insert some of my images I'm going to use. The first image I'm going to insert is this by dragging it in. This dinosaur needs to be cut out from its background. I'm going to show you the contextual toolbar in the newer Photoshops. Mine is on the bottom of my screen, but if you don't have it, I can just show you right here how to click it on and click it off. You can hit select subject. Photoshop will most likely be able to initiate an initial selection. It won't be perfect a lot of the times, and you can then go to your quick selection tool to modify and add to it by zooming in and staying on the plus symbol if you want to add and go to the negative symbol if you want to take away. This may work very well for you and your selection might be all set at this point. You can then copy and paste it. But if you have some really tough areas, going into quick mask mode is a really good choice, especially for me. By tapping Q on your keyboard, you can enter quick mask mode. And by making sure you have the right brush and 100% opacity selected, what you can do is use your paintbrush to add or take away from your selection, more like drawing it in. With the white color here, in this mode, I can add to the selection of my dinosaur, especially in these important areas where the claws and talons were not picked up by this initial selection. By switching to black, I can also take away what I don't want in the selection. When you are in quick mask mode, the red indicates what you don't want, and the actual picture that is live in the positive realm shows what you do want. So I'm going to go through here, switching between taking away and adding to my selection to tighten up the selection of this dinosaur so I have exactly what I want out of it. At this point, with my selection done, I can hit Q to get out of quick mask mode, and I see my refined selection. I can now copy and paste it, and as you can see, I have a nice cutout. That selection is going to be set aside, and I'm going to get my background in now, which is this city street. I'm going to stretch it to fit the piece, and you're going to notice I have a lot of space on top. Well, I'm going to change the sky and add a larger area of sky in there in a second. I'm just placing my dinosaur here to see where I want it in the scene, but I can shut it off at any time to get it out. Now there's a lot of ways to select away this sky. I'm going to put in the sky I'm going to use. I'm going to overlap it and just kind of see how it looks. We're going to talk about layer masks and copying layers as well. I'm going to also now go onto the image of the city scene, and I'm going to drag and create a copy of it. By creating a copy, I can always play with a risk-taking idea if I want to see what it's going to look like. Now, there's a couple ways. I can create a layer mask like I just did, and I can try erasing away parts of the sky to minimize the effects of the current sky. That might mean using a soft brush and also using a very low opacity. You can see I get rid of that edge. That keeps some of the initial sky in, but gets rid of a lot of it. And then if I just layer this sky layer underneath it, you can see that it works pretty effectively, conjoining two skies. Now, if I don't want the sky in this at all, I'll show you another method you can do to get rid of something. You can erase the whole sky, but because this is a sky, I can actually go to the select tool and select sky, and it will actually select the sky for me. And I do have to rasterize it, so when I click on it, I'll click OK. And I can use an eraser or just click delete to delete the sky completely. Once I deselect out of that mode and I turn my sky on and place it behind it, you'll see that the other sky is completely taken over compared to having a little of both skies. So with that complete, we're going to move on to our next thought. I'm going to bring in a manhole cover. I want to cut this manhole cover out and put it into the asphalt road. So we're going to modify a selection for a cleaner look. Have you ever cut something out in Photoshop and it has like an outer edge to it from the background where it came from? Well, if that happens to you, you want to learn to modify your selection. So you're going to select your object as always, but what you're going to do is you're going to go to Select, go to the option Modify, and hit Contract. When you contract pixels, it means make the selection just a little bit smaller or inside of what you wanted. In this case, I'm going to contract it 2 pixels instead of 10, and that's just enough. So with that, what that does is it ensures that my cutout doesn't have anything I didn't want in it. I'm going to place it where I think I want it in the scene. It looks pretty good like that. But for any reason, if I wanted to transform this by warping it, I can warp the manhole cover by going to the transform tool under Edit, using Distort. I can set that a little bit thinner, just like that. And that feels pretty good. You always have to look at scale too when you're putting things in. At this point, what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about there are cracks in the road, but maybe I want more cracks in the road. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can copy selections and then add them in. There are a lot of ways to do this, but since I want this cracked road, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the lasso tool, and I'm going to copy the texture of that road and add it into another spot. So I'm going to use the lasso tool to make a selection. I'm going to then copy and paste it. It'll create a new layer of that selection. And I'm going to drag it over to where I think I want it. I can make it larger or smaller to fit my needs. So maybe I want to put it there at the front foot. Now, just by placing it there, it might need to be angled or moved to look a little different. I can flip the image, I can spin it around, I can go under Edit, go to Transform, hit Flip Horizontal to give it a completely different look so it doesn't look exactly like the one I copied it from. Keeps it more random that way. What I want to do is create a layer mask on this, and then with a little editing, softly erase the outer edges to integrate it into the asphalt so it looks like it's always been there, like so. Since it's from the same picture, the colors are all very similar and the lighting, so it worked out very well. Now, if I want to import a piece like this cracked concrete, I can use a blend mode, but I can also use exactly what I just showed you and blend it in. But I'm going to show you a different method with a blend mode. So I want this to be around the back foot and putting it in. You can see it's a lighter grayer concrete. So by using a blend mode, I can see if something helps it contend a little better. And what I noticed is under overlay, it works pretty darn well in there. The only thing I'll need to do is with that blend mode acquired, I might need to soften some of the edges so you don't see the edges of the photograph. So again, with a layer mask, I can lightly erase and integrate that into my picture quite nicely. We're going to talk about lighting and opacity. Let's just do a review. If something needs to get lighter or darker overall, you can play with the opacity of it if you want it more transparent. Or in this case, you can go to Image, Adjustments, and try tools like Levels, Brightness and Contrast, things like that to adjust the overall highlights or shadow on an individual object. You can also play with the color by going under Adjustments, play with things like Saturation and Vibrance, and there's others to completely change the color of it as well, like Selective Color in there. So if I wanted this dinosaur to be green, I can make it green by playing with some of those adjustments. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add some shading underneath the dinosaur, but I do need to merge some layers. Since my road has those textures I added to it, I want to select and highlight the layers that I want to merge so they're all one effective layer. So those two cracked asphalt textures and the road itself, I'm going to combine them by merging the layers. Once I do that, when I shade with dodge and burn, it will affect everything, not one portion as opposed to another. So at this point, I'm going to use the burn tool and select the proper soft brush and imagine how the shadow would come off onto the concrete. So I am painting a darker shadow on the background road, not on the dinosaur, to display that here. So I'm softly working it in like I had a paintbrush. Intensifying shadows where I think it should get darker, and then creating lighter tones with less clicks of the mouse to integrate it. I find it useful to zoom out of your image to see the whole image and not always stay zoomed in so you can see how everything is really coming together. You can choose to do dodge and burn on any object in your artwork. We're going to add some, talk about adding textures and effects to the piece now. In this case, I'm going to create a brand new layer and call it Steam, and I'm going to put it at the very top of the layer window. And I'm going to select the color that is like an off-white, and I'm going to make Steam looking like it's coming out of the manhole cover. So I'm going to select a proper brush. Some brushes in here are smudge brushes, so those actually push and pull what you paint around. In this case, I'm going to pick that brush for a softening brush and start it at a lower opacity and imagine how steam would look like coming out, and start using my mouse to click a little color here and there. Play with opacity. If you go too intense, you can always dampen it down. And imagine how that steam lifts up. You can see it's going in front of the dinosaur. You can also put the dinosaur layer in front of that if you don't want that happening. At this point, I am going to use a smudge tool I found down here, and it looks like it's going to maybe be able to break it up a little bit. A smudge tool does literally what it means. It smudges and pushes things around. It might allow me to create more of a textured look of steam. Sometimes this is good for water spray. Things like that deal with fire and explosions. And this is more of a play and see technique to see like until I'm happy. So you'll see me doing a lot of undoing and adjusting as I do this until I'm happy. At this point, I feel pretty good about the smudging. I'm going to add a little bit more white paint on that layer. Again, this is a layer that's only about paint, has nothing else on it. It's not painted directly on any other image in this. It's a new layer on top of everything, so it's not affecting anything else. As we close out this video, the last thing I want to show you and talk about are filters. You may find that there's a need for a filter, such as blurring something out or changing the overall style and look of something. If you want to change the style and look of something, select the layer you want, go to filters, and one option is to go to the filter gallery here. Under filter gallery, you can try different types of filter modes to see how they affect and alter your imagery. If you like how something works and you play with the sliders and you're happy, click OK. If you want to do modifications and you're taking a risk, maybe you make a copy of the layer and try filters on that layer. But you could always go to Edit Undo to go backwards if you made a selection that you were not happy with. And the second thing is, you can go under filter and there's more filters right over here. One option, for example, is blur. And there are many types of blur tools. For example, motion blur and Gaussian blur. You can preview it as you do it. So you're going to see a motion blur at this angle is going to make it blur left to right. If you do too much, it'll completely blur it out. And we're going to do one more called Gaussian blur. That's really good if you're going to subtly blur something out that's, say, in the background. A Gaussian blur will do just that. It shakes the pixels to soften the edges and put them out of focus. So as we wrap up, I hope that helped you out in learning what we can do with Photoshop. Thank you so much and good luck.